Welcome to the Lexy Show, Fashion That Gives a Damn, where we expose fast fashion and celebrate the brands and products actually making a difference for our planet. I'm Lexi Silverstein, and today I am talking with Brooklyn Deschier, the founder and designer of Atma Prema, an ethically sourced jewelry brand. If you're new here, head to lexisilverstein.com for information on sustainable fashion and eco-conscious living. And if you love what you hear, subscribe and share this episode. It helps more than you think. Brooklyn, welcome. Let's start with the name Atma Prema. What does that mean and where did this name come from?
Atma Prema actually means self-love in Sanskrit. And I was working in New York for a while. I just got burnt out. So me and my roommate at the time, we went to this 2-week yoga retreat in Thailand on the island Koh Phangan. And everything just aligned so perfectly. Like this island is formed on top of a giant quartz. So all along one of the beaches washed up, there was just quartz all along the sand, and I started collecting the rose-colored quartz. And my dad gave me the idea to start a jewelry brand because he collected stones and gems as a hobby in like the 70s. And then I went on to Bali and started working with Balinese jewelers. And I was trying to think of a name, and then I was doing a little research, and in yoga, we use a lot of Sanskrit words for every pose. And then I came across Atma, and Atma means soul, and then Prima means self. So it's like the love of the self. And that's the journey that I was on, like just remembering this love for myself and what really speaks to my soul. And that just like totally clicked. And I was like, yes, this is it. And especially just like the act of buying something for yourself that's meaningful, like buying a piece of jewelry and putting it on yourself. It's like I love myself. Like I'm gonna adorn myself with these things from the earth. And yeah, so that's why I chose that name.
I love that. And I even saw recently, I think it was like someone was inspired by something else, but they had seen some inspiration and then they wore to a fashion show during New York Fashion Week. Their whole ear was like painted with like gold flecks and then they like put like rhinestones and stuff on their ear. And I was like,
I
that's
didn't
just
see
like
that one. No,
it's just so interesting and so cool. And I just what exactly what you're saying of just I just love even toe rings and like pinky rings. And I like to look at, I'm not even wearing like half of the jewelry that I usually wear. It's so fun. And then it makes me feel like what you're saying is so adorned. And when you buy a piece of jewelry like for yourself, it's for that feeling of doing something for yourself and adorning yourself and decorating yourself. And I think that is so beautiful.
have you seen the grills, the opal ones?
Oh no.
So FKA Twigs, that's the first time I saw it. I love her. Yeah, she had an opal grill, but just a few
Oh,
like opals. I'm like, this
I'm
is amazing.
obsessed.
Opal is like my favorite stone. It's my
Yeah.
birth.
Oh,
So it just looks like a galaxy. And then having it on
yeah.
your tooth, I want to do this. I don't
No,
know if
that is
I'm
so cool. I have these gorgeous like opal earrings. There was, I think, like a brooch that my Nani, my dad's mother had. And at the time I wasn't really wearing brooches. And we took the opals from the brooch and turned it into a necklace and some earrings. And I love, it's like a galaxy. Like opal is so gorgeous. I feel like you've definitely probably gone to this, but if not, you totally should. In Orange County at the fairgrounds, there's like a gem show, and they have so
oh,
many vendors. And so I just went, I only knew because my mom's friend was like already going and she was like, do you want to come with me? And I was like, heck yeah, I do.
I've been at the Tucson gym show.
Okay, I think that is that not like the super famous one? And it's like huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I want to go. That's my next one.
That was insane. Like my favorite place ever because just the whole town is just taken over by stones and gems. Like even all the like motel rooms, like people are like selling outside their room. You're like, man, this is
Oh
crazy.
my gosh. Okay. Next goal, I'm gonna go there. My mom is like really interested in like rocks and stones and gemstones and all these things. And she'll see something and she'll be like, oh my God, is this like blah, blah, blah? And that means blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, whoa, like, how do you
That's
just
so
know these things? And so I think it's so cool, especially not only are you able to wear this gorgeous piece, but then you're able to tell a story with it and be like, thanks, it's
Mm.
this stone and that means this and that. I think that's so beautiful. But when you design something new, where does the inspiration like usually come from? Is it spiritual symbolism, nature, personal experiences, or something else?
Yeah, I think it's a little like combination of all of it because since I was a child, I've been like so obsessed with nature. Like I would just like play in the woods
Mhm.
every day and I would climb trees and I would play in the lake and collect like shells and stones and stuff that I found. And I can just sit outside and just watch nature and I'm like, this is so cool. Like, so I don't feel like I need like mushrooms that much because I'm just like, oh my gosh, I can look at a flower and be like,
Oh.
so I am inspired by nature a lot. Like even thinking of the golden ratio and looking at that all across nature. And it's just so fascinating to me. And then I think combined with the spiritual element, like even like ancient civilizations, so this is such a an ancient thing of like humans wearing jewelry for different purposes, like for protection, for helped like through the afterlife, like the Egyptians. I went to one of my favorite things I did in New York is they had this jewelry exhibition at the Met. And
Mm,
I still like go back and look at these photos. I'm just like, this is so cool. They had like King Tut's the beaded necklaces that he wore.
wow.
And like they had all these things about the spiritual aspect of jewelry and why they like wore certain stones. And I'm just like, this is so cool, so fascinating. So, yeah, for me, it's like a combination of studying nature and the things in nature, and then also the spiritual element of what is this gemstone like good for? What kind of like healing property is it carrying? What's like the history of it? Like what other civilizations have
Mhm.
used like stone and gem before? Yeah, I think just all of it. I'm just like so fascinated.
I
Like
love
this like
it.
in the earth over like millions of years. And how are they
Yeah.
gonna wear it? Like amazing.
No, exactly. It's so cool. I'm sure there's like a bunch of places that have stuff like this, but in Washington, D.C., there's the National Museum of Natural History. They have the Hope Diamond there.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw that in high school. I was in
Okay,
show
yeah.
choir. We had this show choir like competition in DC when we went there.
I was gonna say, I was like, I feel like that was always so funny to me is people would go to DC for their like trips and stuff, and I like am from there. But yeah, it has the Hope Diamond, which is like crazy to see in person, but there's just also like the whole section there of like minerals and jewelry, and it's so like I'm like, oh, shiny. Like I just stand there for hours and I'm like, wow, like
I believe the Hope Diamond has a curse.
it it does.
I don't know if it's true or not. I heard it like probably back then, but like
Oh,
everyone
deep.
who's ever owned that diamond, like something really bad happened to them.
You know what? I wouldn't doubt that is something that I've also heard, but I can't remember. But
Yeah.
all I
It's
know is that it's like the diamond necklace in the Titanic is based off of the
the
Hope
Hope.
Diamond. And so I always remember watching that movie and then being like, oh my God, I'm gonna go see it in real life. But yeah, I just love that museum because I'm like, it was also in Night at the Museum too, the movie.
I don't think I've
So I I just always liked that museum. But I definitely liked the jewelry section. And I think it's like exactly what you're saying. You get to look at like the history of these things and what they mean and their healing powers. And I tend to have a nice ability to steal jewelry from my mother.
lucky you
And
have a mom who has nice jewelry.
oh, she's has crazy jewelry. Like she like collects all these like turquoise is her favorite, so she has like the craziest turquoise collection. And there was something every time she like puts on a new ring and I see it, I'm like, "Ooh, can I try that on?" And she's no, because I know what you're gonna do. You're gonna keep it on, and then I'm not gonna have it. And I'm like, "What?
Seeing the
No."
fancy.
Little me, I would never do that. But she, every time I've gone on like a trip or something, she will let me take some bracelets or necklaces that like have certain, safety and
Oh yeah.
whatever. And
I have a specific necklace that my grandma, she's passed away now, but my dad's mom got in Jerusalem. She was a very devout Catholic, but it's a gold St. Christopher necklace, and St.
Mm.
Christopher protector of travel. And
Oh,
uh,
okay. Yeah.
I wear it every time I'm like traveling, like on an airplane or like a long drive or anything. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
I think it's so nice. Again, it just goes to that storytelling aspect of, and I think that when we tell a story about the items that we own and we feel connected to them, like we're gonna keep them for longer, which leads me into a lot of people don't realize that the jewelry industry has some serious sustainability and ethical issues, from mining practices to labor conditions. So, what are some of the biggest problems that people should know about when it comes to traditional jewelry production?
I think just the mass production and like lack of traceability. So there's a lot of jewelry brands that get a lot of their stuff made in China and you don't really know who's making it. And it's just like they're having like they're so quick making like new pieces come out like every day and you're like, "Oh my
Mhm.
God." It just gets so easy to buy these things because you're like it's so fashionable, but then it doesn't last. So, yeah, I think of just like lack of traceability, the mass production, and not knowing like where these pieces are coming from.
Yeah, similar to the fashion industry. So, how does Atma Prima approach sourcing differently? What steps do you take to make your materials and production as ethical and responsible as possible?
Yeah, so I'm so hands-on. Like it's just me and the jeweler really. It's just so I started in Bali, so I was working directly with Balinese jewelers. And then I went to the Tucson Gem Fair where I met the opal dealers directly that are from Australia. They mine directly in Australia. I would love to go there one day and mine myself. That'd be great. That's a dream of mine. So I directly meet these sources myself. And then I'm also just connected to one of the places I've worked with, this manufacturer in Thailand. It's a woman-owned, they're sisters, and a lot of women work there. It's ethical, sustainable. They have all the certifications. So another thing to look for, the certifications like of sustainability and where these gems are coming from. And then when I left Bali and moved to LA, I worked downtown LA directly with a manufacturer here. It's all recycled gold. So I know where everything's coming from because I'm very hands-on. And another manufacturer I recently started working with is in Jaipur, India. And Jaipur is known as like the jewelry, like the famous jewelry center in India. And I almost went there as well, but then the air was too bad when I was in Delhi, so I cut my trip short and left. So I have to go back to Jaipur. But yeah, for me, I'm just like very hands-on, and so I know exactly where everything's coming from.
I love that. I think that's just so important is if I can't ask you where you got something from any brand, which really often is the case, like they don't necessarily even know
Mhm.
where they're manufacturing or where the cotton for this shirt that they ended up making for $2 is from and any of the steps that took it to becoming that shirt and then getting shipped to the person who bought it or that jewelry piece, that necklace, that pair of shoes, whatever it is. And I think that's something that like people I feel will always ask like how do I really know if something's sustainable? There's so much out there. And I'm like, you know what? If someone is like really dedicated to this cause, like they'll be putting it places. Like you shouldn't have to go look for like the sustainability and do all this research and stuff. If they care and it's at the root of, why they're doing what they're doing, it'll be apparent. And I think that it's just so amazing because when we ask for transparency, like we need to have that traceability. And I really do feel like a lot of fashion and jewelry brands out there don't even necessarily know where they're getting the stuff from. And I think I talk a lot about clothes and how we look at clothes and
Yeah.
rethinking our clothes, but I think that's always something that I like to get into is okay, clothes aren't the only thing making up this outfit. It's my shoes, it's my jewelry. And I mean, I'll go to the flea market and there's a billion vendors with like a these horrible like rings that are gonna like green after make my
Yeah.
finger green after 2 minutes wearing it. And so you think about the waste that, or we're talking a lot more about the waste that our clothes are causing, but I don't feel like we're talking about necessarily the waste that the jewelry we're buying is causing. So I think supporting brands and like yours and really, and I always say this with before you buy something, but like before you buy clothes, like really investing in your jewelry and like thinking for a second and being like, am I going to keep this for a long period of time? Is it going to turn green after I wear it once? Like I, again, my mom and I just like love jewelry. Like we're like big jewelry girls. We have our like huge rings. We have taken like jewelry making classes. Like
I
we,
love that.
oh, we love it. I am the way I am because of my mother. And she was just calling me the other day where she was like, someone asked me if you get inspired by me or if I get inspired by you. And she was like, I think it's a little bit of both. And I go, yeah, but my taste in jewelry is 100% just because
Of
of
you.
her. Yeah. I'm like, because I literally come to your house and I take your jewelry. So it's not even like I'm inspired by you. It's like I'm stealing from you.
My background, though, it's so I worked at a high fashion brand in New York, and then I worked at a nonprofit that fought against human trafficking. So I learned a lot about trafficking in the world, the USA, not just sex trafficking, but labor also, and how that works. So that's also why I'm like so aware of the traceability and what's going on because I know how people are locked into the labor work and to pay off debt for the rest of their life. And
Mhm.
yeah, definitely do not want any part of that.
Yeah, and that's really interesting. I think it's incredible how you've been able to take previous experience that doesn't necessarily have to do with jewelry flat out, but take it into what you're doing here. And I'm just like, I always will be like, you can just tell when you speak to a person when they like really care about all these different things or if they're just doing it to just do it. And so I think that it's like incredible to, it's always
So
incredible to meet and speak with people.
another thing to watch out for recently I learned about is these AI websites popping up.
Mm,
So when you Google Atma now, this Atma store comes up
mm.
and it's messing with my SEO. I found out because I started getting daily calls from customers not getting their jewelry.
Oh no.
And it was like the same specific jewelry piece. And I'm like, I don't sell this jewelry piece. Like what, like a heart with like angel wings, that's $40. And so I finally talked to someone, and it was like this older lady. She said she bought it off Facebook. So I started researching and I was like, oh, it's this Atmos store. And then I went and I've been doing all this research. Like I found the domain. They're using Ionos, and Ionos is an AI website builder. And Ionos has terrible reviews also. So I've tried to reach out to them. I've been like reporting them because this no one's getting their jewelry from this company. It's like completely AI. They've been ripping off other websites and they have 10 to 20 different Facebook accounts. And every one has comments from people saying they never got the jewelry. This is a scam. This is a scam. And I'm like, oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
No, it's like a nightmare I've been dealing with. So now I'm like, I have to figure out how to, because I've been reporting them anywhere, everywhere, but nothing has happened yet. So that's another thing to look out for is AI websites.
Yeah, such a timely topic because truly like AI is really taking over. And if we want to talk about AI, sustainability, water usage, like not AI and the planet, not friends. I saw a commercial yesterday. I think it was for a Jeep Cherokee, and it was fully just AI. And mind you, it was like bad. So I'm just like, what are we, if you're gonna use AI, like at least make it good. Like at least have a reason that you can get away with this ad. Like it was so good, we just had to do it because this is just embarrassing. And it was like they were interviewing, all in quotation marks, they were interviewing animals and
Mhm.
the animals were talking about like Jeep Cherokees. And I was just like, this is so ridiculous, like that this is the world in which we live in, that a big enough brand as Jeep, who
Yeah.
has the money to be like paying for individuals to create good ads, great marketing is doing this. Like,
It's costing them as much money as well.
yeah, like it's just it was so bad. Like I just was like, I can't even believe that got approved through an entire list of people on their team.
It's gonna be interesting the next few years, honestly, because
Yeah,
I really don't know which way it's gonna go. Because I do believe like humans like want to see other like human
human.
work. Yeah. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, I don't know. On that note, is there a specific piece or collection from Atma Prima that has a really meaningful story behind it or that really connects with you specifically?
I love this question. Yes, I do. It's the sapphire heirloom ring. So my dad, as I mentioned earlier, he was basically a hippie when he was younger. He was very into meditation, Chinese medicine, acupuncture, kinesiology. Like he was very ahead of his time. And he made this like oat sausage brand before it like was a thing. Like
Ooh.
very like a health nut, but yeah, he was cool. But he collected stones and gems, and he collected these dark blue sapphires in the 70s, and he passed them on to me. So since I'm like into jewelry now, and he also had this book on the healing properties of gemstones, by the way, which I didn't appreciate until later, but
That's always how it goes.
I know. So I have these dark blue sapphires. And I waited until I felt like more settled into like my jewelry career to make some pieces, and they're marquee shaped. And instead of like north to south, I turned it so it's like more contemporary, modern, east to west. It's like signet ring. And yeah, it just means a lot to me because now I can show him like this is what I made. Like people love it. I've sold a few, and it's just very meaningful. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I think jewelry is always something that I feel like is passed down through
Mhm.
generations. Like I remember with my dad's mom, I don't like really remember if there was an occasion or if she was just feeling fabulous and decided to buy like a really expensive crazy ring. But it was this gorgeous ring that I like helped her pick out. I don't even know what the gems were, but we like still have the ring. I don't have it yet. My parents are like, you're not getting that until you're like 50. And I'm like, okay. But I just think like there are pieces that I always remember, like my mom wearing, or even my dad wearing, or my nanny wearing, and my grandma wearing. And now I have those pieces and I'll keep them forever and pass them down. And I think that's something that I always try to remind people when it comes to, again, like clothing, like invest in good quality things and you'll be
You
able
have
to pass it down.
right.
Yeah. And so jewelry is like somewhat even more a practice already. Like at least it is in my like life where I've always just my my nanny was as fabulous as my mother is. And so I have a very
But
fortunate,
jewelry is something even like better to collect than clothes
yeah,
because it's precious metal, gold and silver, and thinking of like the rising gold and silver prices and how like money is so dependent on that. It's if you have a lot of gold, you're set.
yeah. That's literally what my mom always says. She's, girl, you have so much turquoise, you're like set for life because she collects so much of it. And I'm like, okay, good to know. Thank you. And this is where me and my brother differ is he is like, why don't you sell it and get more money from it? And I'm like, no, like I want to
Yeah.
wear it. So
You think about the money spent on fast fashion jewelry, it's not gonna last. Just like clothes, you're gonna keep having to buy. Why not just spend that money on a piece that you'll have forever?
yeah, when I went to the Gem Fest in Orange County, I got just a bunch of standalone gemstones that I've taken two ring making classes and I want to take more. I just don't have any space to have a whole ring making thing in my one bedroom apartment. But that's the goal is to take like the things that I got and turn them into jewelry. And I think that again, it's just I'd rather spend the money doing that. It's something I can take the time to learn how to do. It's fun. And then I have this piece, and then I can be like, oh, I made that, which is like similar to If I'm wearing a brand like Atma Prema and someone asks me a question about it, I'll be able to go into this whole story of this is why the name is this, and this is how she started, and this is what she supports. And that's why I just think it's so important to do your research and invest in quality rather than
Yeah.
you know, buying so much of this like stuff that is not even going to be in your closet in 2 days. But on that note, what are some red flags that you think that people should look out for when trying to avoid probably like unethical brands?
I would say lack of traceability and mass production. If you don't know where the pieces are coming from and they're just like putting out so much cheap jewelry, then that's a pretty red flag.
Yeah.
Yeah, just really low prices. I tend to stay away from like gold-plated brass just because that is probably the cheapest kind of jewelry. And yeah, just like any hidden business info, you don't really know who the owners are. You can't find anything about them. It's an AI website. Yeah, that those are the main things.
And what would you say are maybe some green flags or some signs that a jewelry brand is actually doing things right?
Who's running it? Like something about their history. They have the traceability. They talk about where the gemstones come from. There's clear branding and value. In-house local production is always a great thing as well. Yeah, I think just like knowing where your pieces are coming from and knowing the values of this company and who is actually running it.
Yeah, completely. And as a founder and designer, what have been some things that you have found maybe most surprising or hard, or what how have you maybe gotten over those challenges when building out a conscious brand in a fashion space that's not always necessarily conscious?
Yeah, I've definitely gone back and forth a little bit. Oh, should I like go into cheaper jewelry? Like I've looked into stainless steel because some jewelry brands are operating just on that because gold and silver prices are so high. And stainless steel, you can like it doesn't tarnish and you can have it gold plated with another thing over it where it doesn't tarnish at all. You can wear it in the water. So I've been playing with some of those, but then I just keep going back to, oh, I just love the real materials
Yeah.
from the earth. And I think also when you stay rooted in like your authenticity and like what you stand for, you attract the right people who care about that. So I think just learning through these humps and challenges is just like staying rooted in who I am and what my brand is, and it'll attract the right people. And it has been. So it's been great.
Yay. Great. Thank you so much. Where can people find you on social media or anywhere else?
Yeah, so I'm on social media, Instagram, Atma Prema Jewelry, and Facebook, Atma Prema. My website's atmapremajewelry.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much, everyone. Go get your lovely jewelry from Atma Prima. I have mine and I'm obsessed with them. And thank you so much again. That's it for this week's episode of the Lexy Show Fashion That Gives a Damn. Big thanks to Brooklyn for showing us how jewelry can be both beautiful and meaningful when it's created with intention and respect for people and the planet. Whether it's fashion or everyday products, this is how sustainability should work. If this conversation resonated with you, subscribe so you don't miss an episode, leave a review, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Head to LexySilverstein.com for more content on sustainable style and conscious consumption, and follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Lexy Silverstein. That's Lexy, silver like the color, Stein. Remember to live a good life and look fucking good doing it, and demand better from brands in your closet and everywhere else. See you next week.